Hello students, in the first video, I talked about careers, the selection of the career and the top 10 soft skills which the recruiters are today looking for. In this video, I would like to talk in detail about the 10 top soft skills. So let me share my PowerPoint presentation with you all. So let us begin with communication. As I have been talking about communication being the core or the first among the must-have soft skills, there is nothing today which can work without communication. And communication obviously means verbal communication, auditory, the non-verbal, and the written. In fact, a lot of situations can be undone, or they can really go wrong if we don't pay attention to the non-verbal cues. So, like the verbal cues, the tone of the voice and the sounds and the language, it is also essential that we pay a lot of attention to the facial expressions, our body language, um, in situations where where there could be a conflict. It really matters as to the kind of non-verbal communication that happens. Uh, I need not talk more about it because I'm sure you would be coming across it. You must be facing situations of these kind every day where something just goes wrong on the basis of why did he look at me like this, or why did she look at me like this, or what did he mean by a particular gesture. And therefore clarity on this core soft skill becomes absolutely a must for everyone. It's very funny today when we say that our facial expressions matter so much, but then how do you determine which facial expression means what? And I think this is where the continuous learning, the observation really comes to one's help. Time management is something that no organization today says that it has got it right. um, Organizations are made up of people, right? Like I said, a big or a small organization, certain problems are common to all. Now, of course, how to do time management? There is a lot of work done on it. There are a lot of techniques by which we can do time management. But first and foremost, I think it is essential for everybody to understand that time management begins with managing time. And the concept over here is, it starts with like small habits that I have talked about before. Coming to work on time, doing the work on time, no procrastination. And time management requires practice. First and foremost, it is essential to understand and to respect time. I have noticed, and many a times when I'm doing conflict resolution in organizations, one of the situations, the most common situation is where people don't come on time, and people don't complete the tasks on time. And so the question over here is, why do we give so much importance? Each of us, each organization, everybody around the world has only 24 hours in a day. And the most you make of it and the most effective use of your time will really not just help you lead a more balanced life, but also will be your contribution to the workplace will be more productive. So it all starts with, ensuring that things get done on time, but it doesn't get limited only to that. Um, a lot of people use a lot of techniques like, blocking time and saying, okay, this part of my day is going to be reserved for this kind of an activity. One note of caution over here is that too much of rigidity with time can also sometimes, it can boomerang because adaptability is required, flexibility is required, and this may also depend, this may particularly depend on the situations that crop up, especially the unforeseen situations that might crop up at work. But do respect time, and I don't think I have come across anybody who has said that time management has not helped him or her. The next is, we have to take some tips on time management. Apart from the techniques, a lot of people, and even when we are working in organizations, um, it is a common question: how do you make the most of your day? So there are certain small tips that I would like to share with you all. One is, keeping all the information in one place. We spend a lot of time searching for things, so ensuring that you maintain order is one small tip. Then setting a time limit for each task, like I said, blocking. So like a time for exercise, a time for study, a time for interacting, networking. Then, of course, prioritizing the task. Today the time waster, one of, the social media has been recognized as one of the biggest time wasters ever. And therefore, people lose, this connect with the reality as to what needs to be done today, what needs to be done the next day. So prioritizing definitely helps, and planning ahead. Investing about 5 to 10 minutes before leaving, or before ending the day, in determining what activities you have to do on a priority basis the next day. The small act of making a task list and then ticking it off can be it can be a hugely satisfying task, because when you see that the work is being done, it's being done on time, it also instills confidence in oneself. And obviously, getting rid of distractions. We need to disconnect from the social media, from the phone, and definitely concentration at work matters. And when you concentrate better, you are able to do the work on time. That is known. The next soft skill that we have to talk about is adaptability. I have come across people who have left their good jobs, satisfying jobs, just because the office moved a kilometer away, or 2 kilometers away. Now it really makes me wonder as to why they would do it. And when I have talked to some of them, I have realized that there is this concern. Oh, I joined over here, and therefore all my everything has been set around this, and therefore I am not ready to change. But adaptability, is it really is a mindset, I would say. Uh, it it ensures, the moment you have this soft skill, it ensures that you are able to handle different tasks and situations. In fact, it would be very boring if all our days were the same, right? And so we have to look forward to new experiences where we can adapt to those experiences, we can adapt to the situation, and in fact that even adds more to the learning. So what really is adaptability? It is the willingness to take on responsibilities that might even be outside one's area of expertise. For instance, a person may not be very proficient in maybe editing, or in even say conflict management. I give this, right, but trying your hand at that, and saying that, okay, let me try it, let me take someone's help, but let me take inputs from others, but let me do it, will not only add one more soft skill to your list of soft skills, but it will also make you more confident and ready for the next positions in your career, right? So it is important. Adaptability becomes important if one has to remain competitive and agile. So across the sector or within a similar sector, how many job responsibilities has one handled? That becomes a very effective consideration, and a very important consideration today, when people are chosen for higher positions, when people are chosen for new responsibilities. And adaptability, I think, is all about a learning attitude. Like I said, learning something new. You don't have to sit down and say, okay, now I'm going to sit down and learn this. That can be one way of learning. But taking in experiences, observing, listening to people, and is adds tremendously to your learning attitude. And like I said, learning attitude also becomes a habit. So this interrelatedness, or the interconnect between various soft skills, is in a way complex, but it also makes it also makes your work and your life interesting. Then, of course, is the problem solving. Um, every organization, even in your daily life, we are all going to face some kind of obstacles. You want to reach somewhere on time, and there is a traffic jam, you cannot do much about it. So what are you going to do about it? A lot of things go wrong in communication, just because the communication doesn't happen on time. For instance, if you're caught in a traffic jam and you are unable to reach your workplace, then it is always a nice thing to call up the concerned and inform them about it, and inform them in a way where the truth is really very obvious. But a lot of us believe, usme kya roz bolna hai, or why should I do that? Um, there was a situation in one of the organizations that I was working with, where a particular employee would always, every day she would have this problem that, oh, I get caught in a, on Monday she would be late. And then on asking her why it was so, she would say, I would have to, fill petrol in my car. So the simple solution to this is, why don't you do this job on a Sunday evening, or why don't you complete this on a Sunday morning, so that you don't have to wait in the long fuel queues on a Monday morning and invariably be late for work. So like I said before, today all companies are looking for people who have solutions. So they put a poster saying, don't come with a problem, walk in with a solution. And obviously, problem solving requires the use of knowledge, facts, and data. It cannot be a gut feeling always. And the idea is to formulate a workable solution. There will be many solutions to a problem, but is it workable? Are these feasible solutions? This becomes a crucial question. Then is the ability to develop, problem solving also means ability to develop, well thought out solutions. Like I said, feasible, workable solutions. But the important part over here is a reasonable time frame. For instance, if you're unable to solve a problem within a reasonable time frame, sometimes it so happens that that goes on the back burner, and that can be one of the things that can work against you. So you know this also requires the concept of time management. So a reasonable time frame, workable solutions, and then of course learning from the mistakes that happen. uh, for instance, today, we are talking about the FASTag being phased out now, and some other system, a GPS-based system, a per kilometer-based toll system that might come in. So, can we really say that it didn't work, or was that a mistake? Okay, if it was a mistake, then we have to learn from a mistake that certain solutions cannot be knee-jerk, and therefore solutions again and again. I would like to reiterate that they have to be workable solutions. That is what everybody looks for. We don't want to keep changing the norms and the rules and the solutions every single day. That would take away from the seriousness of the work. And it would also be very confusing for the people to adapt to a new thing every day. So problem solving is not just about, I have given a solution immediately. It's not about the immediateness. It's about using the reasonable time frame to give a workable solution, and which will be acceptable to most. That also matters. Then, of course, it's teamwork. It means working cooperatively, right? Many a times we say, oh, this organization is so good, it's being led so well. But we also forget that it is the people who have decided that they want to collaborate, they want to keep their personal differences aside, they want to cooperate, and to ensure that the task orientation is the biggest priority. So contributing to groups, how do you work in teams? Um, in the colleges, during your growing up years, you have been probably studying in groups. That also is a part of the teamwork. You just need to extend it and be more mindful about it. So it also involves communication, giving ideas, receiving ideas, being responding to the ideas. Then a sense of responsibility. What would happen if I don't report for work today? How would it affect my team? How would it affect the task that we are going to do? Then, of course, a healthy respect for different opinions, customs, and individual preferences, not being judgmental, not being harsh about it, right? And basically telling a person that you are okay and I am okay, and this is how we are going to work. And of course, teamwork also means not just listening to people, not just accepting the decision, but also participating in the group decision making. Because if everybody would participate, the pros and cons would be discussed better. In fact, you can, look at a technique called thinking hats, the six thinking hats, and decision making becomes better when people discuss all the pros and cons. So instead of saying, "Oh, I wanted to tell you this, but I was sure that this was fail," and then the question is asked, "Why didn't you say that? Nobody wanted to listen to me, or I didn't think it was a good enough suggestion, or I didn't do it because you were participating in the decision making." So these kind of approaches are no more acceptable at work. And teamwork, it's very beautifully said that teamwork divides the task and multiplies the success. So today, be it anything, and we see this happening even, for people who want to make a career in the social service also, they have to bank essentially on the teamwork and the collaboration that they would expect from all the team members. It is one thing that is, and how does one learn teamwork? It's first, I think it begins with acceptance. You accept that you are not the only one who's going to be there. You have to accept that a lot of people contribute to the task, and you also accept that that you will enjoy working with those people. The moment you put your mindset into the right order, I think teamwork becomes really enjoyable. Then, of course, there's creativity, which has been defined as the tendency to generate or recognize ideas, alternatives, or the possibilities that may be useful in solving problems. Um, Communicating with others, even how you communicate with difficult people. You might find them difficult because they don't communicate like you. But then you have to be creative, right? Because work is a priority, and the task that you have been given is irrespective of all these problems. So, creativity also means looking, thinking out of the box, looking at things in a new, unorthodox ways, and coming up with new solutions. So, creativity also is related to problem solving because you can get creative with problems. The same, if you are doing the same things with the same mindset and doing them in the same way, you are going to get the same results. But if you look at doing them in a different way, smart ways, using technology. Today we talk of something called reverse mentoring. And reverse mentoring means that, the seniors in the organization who may not be very up to the mark in technology, share their experiences or their inputs, give their inputs regarding work to the juniors, and the juniors who may be proficient in technology train them. So this kind of a synergy, which is also a part of, the teamwork process, is also a part of adaptability, is also a part of problem solving. How do you solve the problem of, the recurring conflicts between the elders, between the previous generation and the successive generation? So one of the best ways is to have, a lot of give and take. So we give our experiences and you give us the training and technology. This can be one way in which this synergy can be built and the problem of conflict can be resolved. So coming up with creative ways. One example that I would like to share over here is, creativity or thinking out of the box. When I was teaching in a school, I was in my student days and I had this opportunity to teach in a school. The principal over there was very, she was a big one on creativity, and she always used to say this, that problems will always come up, but if you look at them in a different way, they can be easily resolved, and that too without a conflict. So there was this, situation where two, small students, second standard kids came up and said, "Oh, one of them has, given me he has called me so and so, and it's an abusive word, and I don't like it." And so she had this beautiful solution. She said, "I have always taught you not to take anything from others. So why don't you just tell him, take back your bad word, and that's it." And so without, actually going through any conflict situation, the problem was resolved. So creativity is something that, all of us need to practice. And I would like to say one thing over here, that if we don't practice our soft skills, they can go away. So practice makes a man perfect. That adage still stands. And with, especially with soft skills like creativity, it matters even more. Then, of course, is leadership. Now, when we talk of leadership, we always think of, the top leadership, the top management. But I believe that leadership is something that happens at all points, at all levels. So it starts with supervising and directing other workers. It could be, helping out your own peer, helping out your own colleagues, even, at the same level. And one very important thing is leading by example. If someone says that coming on time is essential, I think the person can, the best way to reinforce, the best way to make others understand the significance of time is by leading. So, where most of the times, if you are on time and you finish your task on time, it is very easy to set that example, walk the talk, like we say it. And then, of course, cultivating relationships. This is something that leaderships really need to do. Because what differentiates a worker from a leader is this capacity to interact with people at all levels. So there is assessing of the workers, there is motivating of the people. Everybody has a bad day at work, so you need to tell them it's okay. Problems are going to crop up, things are going to go wrong. Yet we all need to, keep up our motivation, be inspired to work, encourage people, discipline workers. Encouragement becomes a very crucial aspect over here, because good leadership always encourages the people with potential. They encourage them to do new things, they encourage them to do thinking out of the box, and that is how, actually the tone is set for the next level of leadership also. Building teams is another important aspect of leadership. Resolving conflicts, being fair, being just, and then of course cultivating the organization's desired culture. So culture takes time to develop, and for the newcomers, it is always, like I said, observe what works, what doesn't, the do's and don'ts, and you automatically start falling into the culture of the company. And then, of course, if there are certain wrongs that you think that you need to check or you need to, point out, please feel free, because that also is become a important soft skill, the ability to fearlessly express what you think is not right, and obviously expressing a solution, giving a solution also to that. So it's not just about being critical, it's not just about pointing out a problem, but also about giving a solution to that problem. So, leadership, in fact, leadership training, whenever we are doing training programs for leadership in organizations, one deficient area is soft skills. And so, leadership training today involves a lot of soft skill training also. So, again, I would like to point out to the interrelatedness of these soft skills. One adds to the other. And then come the interpersonal skills. These are basically the people skills, like I said before. There will be easy people to work. There will be difficult people to work. Sometimes people maybe, you just cannot assess them, whether it would be a good day to work with them or whether it would be a bad day to work with them. It takes all to make a workplace. And the more you learn to deal with people, I think the more satisfying your entire career growth would be. So it involves not just building and maintaining relationships, but developing a rapport using diplomacy. How do you say no without sounding harsh, or how do you get a person to agree to what you are saying, and then giving and receiving constructive criticism, feedback. Continuous feedback matters a lot, because that says that you are not just interested in the work being done, but you are also interested in the development of the other individual, being tolerant and respectful regarding others' opinions. So instead of saying, I don't agree with you, saying that, maybe we can consider your opinion or this aspect at a later point, and let's do a review. So, getting to use the language in the most effective way is also a key component in interpersonal skills. And then, of course, empathizing with people, which means putting yourself into their situations, putting yourself into their shoes and trying to understand what they are going through, or, what obstacles and what limitations they have, and helping people. So interpersonal skills is really, like I would say, a strong foundation of trust and accountability. So accountability is what happens when the task is done. Responsibility is what one takes while the task is being done. But the ultimate result, the trust that you develop with people, the trust that people develop in you, the trust that you develop in your own teams, and also the trust that you can get the work done and you can sort of fulfill the expectations. It depends a lot on the interpersonal skills that you develop. Then, of course, is the work ethic. Now, this has become again a very, I not just crucial, but it has sort of become a defining element, in the soft skills domain. So, work ethic today says that management of employees is a big time waster, because everybody has work to do. I mean, a leader, even a manager today has his own work to do apart from managing a team. And therefore, a good manager today would be somebody, who can motivate his team to work on their own. But he can supervise, give the guidance, he can, do course correction. But at the same time, micromanagement is considered to be a big time waster, and it sort of kills the initiative also. So, what does the work at, one thing I would like everybody to understand, the objective of this program, I believe, is also to help the transition from college to the corporate. It may sound a little cliche at this point of time, but my experience of working with young individuals and also with seniors, I have realized that one thing that is very um important for all of us to understand, that we cannot behave or we cannot have the same skill sets that we had in the in the college days, and we cannot really say have a great performance based on them. You need to grow up essentially. Adult life is all about responsibility, and not just about being responsible, but also being accountable, right? So when I say that you have to be responsible, and work ethic implies responsibility, it means you have to be punctual. It means you have to meet the deadlines, ensuring that your work is error free. A lot of assignments and everything comes to us. I'm just giving an example, but many a times we find that nobody even reads what they have written. So if you are in the habit of writing well, also make a habit of reading your own work before you submit it, and you will be surprised as to how many new insights you can have about your own work. Then to tend, a certain level of performance is expected from every individual. Then of course that tending to the company business, doing the work, whole time at work. For instance, today one of the problems at work is that people are spending too much time on their personal phones, Facebook and everything, and many companies therefore have started, putting in rules and regulations regarding the use of Facebook, Instagram at work, and everything. And it is not only as a time waster, but I think it also sets a very wrong work culture. Then, of course, treating the company's resources with respect, all the equipment and the products, right? It's this is again like it's a wholesome package. How you come across in the organization. Do you value the company's equipment, or do you treat it as company ka hai to humko kya karna hai, right? And it's always nice to be respectful. That is the point. Be it your property or the public property, and then honesty and integrity. We do say during interviews, we write in the CVs, that one of my strong points is honesty and integrity. But it is different to write about it, and it is very different to live up to it. Living up to it is more matter than writing about it. And then going the extra mile commitment, doing something extra. ये मेरा काम नहीं है. Most of the times we hear this, but try doing it. Maybe it will add value to your own career. It will give you a different insight to the work that you are doing, right? Sometimes working across domains also is a wonderful thing, because then you get a lot of insights into how you can better your own work. And then of course excellence at work. uh, we don't understand this, but it's also a part of our fundamental duty. One of the fundamental duties under Article 51A says that we have to all the while strive for excellence, and that is not just what you call, uh, you know, giving yourself a boost in your own career, but it is also a part of the nation building activities. So work ethic is something, and maintaining a clean work ethic, maintaining an acceptable work ethic is something that, because we get lots of misinformation, we get misled at times. But please understand that all organizations look for these basics. Then we come to the concept of attention to detail, which again goes with, a part of the work ethic, which says that when you give in the work, or when you submit a task, when you complete a task, you have to ensure it is error free, it is up to a certain level of performance. So attention to detail matters a lot. And especially I have given examples, where you are into careers in proofreading or editing your own work, even the spelling mistakes today. A lot of time we don't even pay attention to that. And sort of, having an error-free document, or at least a largely error-free document, is a fulfilling experience for everyone. Then obviously attention to detail also implies organizing. For instance, if you have to organize a seminar at work, or you have to organize some event, planning is essential. So making a task list, planning, taking it off, ensuring that you have good rapport with others, so that the work that is dependent on others also gets done. And then of course number crunching. Mindfulness helps over here. So again, attention to detail is one soft skill, but this can be enhanced further with the attitude to be mindful at work. The easiest way to be mindful is, when you leave the home and you enter the workplace, you say, okay, I am here now, I'm going to be fully dedicated to this. And when you leave the workplace and when you come, when you start for your homes, it is better to say, okay, I have disconnected from this now and I'm going to pay attention. So, putting yourself into those segments and saying, okay, now I'm at work and I'm going to concentrate on this, really is a good mind exercise. And mindfulness gives you lots, I think it gives you a lot of result. For one, it helps you finish your task on time, but also it helps you to do your task better. Uh, I'm a teacher, and I like to be mindful. The reason being, once I'm in the classroom, I would not like to think about anything else but the topic that I'm teaching, and my interaction with the students. And I think that really adds to the satisfaction. See, careers, jobs, everything will happen during your lifetime, but what satisfaction have you gained out of it? The entire domain of soft skills is also meant for giving you that understanding that yes, by using these I can have a fulfilling career. I can at the end of the day I go back satisfied and happy, because finally that is what matters. Then the next thing that one needs to, after attention to detail, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, many a times we see that there are errors in writing checks and all that. It's a very simple task that a person from the accounts department probably has to do. But paying attention, suppose you are working in the accounts department and you have to issue a check to a vendor, ensuring that the vendor's name is correct, whatever the details are there, the account numbers, everything. A lot of this is done today digitally, but even digital requires correct inputs, because if you give the correct inputs, then the correct output is going to be there. So I think, after understanding these 10 soft skills and what is the significance for not just career, for not just, getting the first job, not just for advancing in your careers, but leading happy and fulfilled lives. Let me now come to, certain tips that I would like to share with all of you. One is to incorporate the skills in your resume, so in your CV, so how you write about the activities that you have done. So if you say that you participated in the the NSS activities of your college or in the NCC, do mention that what benefits you got out of it, the sense of discipline that you got, right? Or you understood the significance of doing things on time, right? Then present your skills during the job interviews. Many a times you are asked situation based questions. So I have mentioned this technique, which is very common during the interviews today, which is the STAR method, and which stands for situation, task, action, and result. So how do you answer behavioral interview questions? I particularly remember one response given by a candidate when I was helping out with the interviews in a company. And this candidate, he had just recovered from a fracture, and he had recently cracked an exam, and he had done very well in the exam, and that was his first job interview. So he was talking about, the problems that he encountered. So the question was, what problems have you encountered in your life? Recent examples, and can you tell us how you overcame them? So he gave a very nice example. He said, just before my exams, a month or so before my exams, I met with an accident and I fractured my hand. So it was in cast. And so when my friends would come to meet me, we would discuss about the studies and everything. And so my friends would write the formulae on the task. And that really helped me to memorize the formulae and be, updated with my studies. And that is how I cracked my examinations well. So, how you frame your answers, how you interpose a situation and the kind of response that you gave to that situation, how you dealt with the situation, this can be done very nicely. So practice during for an interview. Get your friends to ask you situational questions and then try to improvise upon them, right? So generally these kind of questions would begin, the interviewer would begin by saying, describe a time when, you had to undergo such a situation and what did you do about it? And then of course, interviews, cracking the interviews, landing the first job is what you call one of those memorable events of your life. I don't think anyone forgets that. But to ensure success over there, what you require is a good attitude and enthusiasm. Insipid responses during an interview tell the interviewer that you are not really interested in the profile. So enthusiasm has to be shown, it has to be projected, and your right attitude, the attitude to get the things done, the attitude to learn, the attitude to say, okay, let me try this. I'm sure I'll be able to do it. If not, I'll seek help and still get it done. And then, of course, recognize and demonstrate the interrelatedness, right? So I have already given this example where, conflict resolution methods and the decision that you take on the method matters. So this interrelatedness, please don't think that, the soft skills are standalone soft skills. There is a lot of internal synergy between the soft skills. So at a situation, you may be required in a particular situation, you may be required to use a number of soft skills at the same time, right? Then of course, prepare, practice, and pull yourself together. Saying I am going to appear for the interview now. I don't have to take, I will not be bothered about the other distractions. I will not be bothered about a disturbing phone call or a disturbing message. Disciplining the mind is also a part of the mindfulness. And obviously share experiences with each other. What happened during my interview? What happened during your interview? So this sort of, again, is a practice of teamwork, right? So don't just keep it to yourself and say, oh, I will not share it with you, because the more you share, the more you gain. So I think I have spoken enough, and I hope my inputs will be helpful to all of you. Let me wish all of you the very best in life, wishing you all happy careers, happy, fulfilling life. Stay blessed and be happy. So thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you.